Welcome to Blockchain Basement. Today we're going to talk about the top 5 things to watch in Bitcoin and crypto this week, as well as a bunch of boring news. No, just kidding. Let's go. You ready for this? I'm ready. Welcome.
If you're gonna screw me, at least pull my hair.
Hell yeah. What you got?
They could start chopping off fingers. They're like, give me your seed phrase, but I don't know it.
Out to give the numbers out. And I was like, no, hang up the phone right now.
Or like when it dropped in 2020, was it like exciting?
400,000 to 600,000. The generational signals are now.
Level. So I don't even know if we're gonna get back below there, but if we do, that's kind of where we
All right, love that intro. I'm just kidding about the boring stuff, but I do feel like we kind of are in the boring part of the cycle when it comes to price action. What up to everybody in the chat? We got Shrimpy, Scapegoat, Raul, San Miguel, Blazing 2J7, no 2JZ, Justin Eubanks, Colin Operator.
Do you even know what that is?
Jay-Z, of course I know. Who Jay-Z.
2JZ.
No.
Yeah, I can tell.
BJ, stop.
CE, Shrimpy,
It's a motor.
Scapegoat, Cyber Posty, Tommy Gunn, Manawalk, LG, LJGG, Corvette 4s, Chemistry Bro, Crypto Totoro, Razmataz, Crypto Tony, Rolo, 6969, 918 Rep, Crypto Kyle, Crimson Caravan Company. Love all of you guys. Welcome in. Thank you for staying tuned into crypto at the most vital and important time because this is the accumulation zone. We're going to look at some of that. We're going to look at some of the things happening this week. And it may be boring when it comes to price action, but it's life-changing when it comes to opportunity. And you guys have heard me say this a lot. I really believe that this year, 2023, you're going to have a lot of time to accumulate. You're going to have a lot of time. I don't know if you can twist that.
I am about to do that.
A lot of time to accumulate, a lot of time to get involved, to learn, to educate. You know, we talk about a lot of different DeFi projects. somewhat under fire when it comes to the SEC. Everybody and their mom getting a letter from the SEC about DeFi protocols. I know Lido was one of them, and a lot of other ones. Wait. I forgot to introduce our esteemed guests. We've got the one and only Crypto Sunglasses, Nick Diamandi, the Nick
what's
Tater,
up?
everybody's
What's up?
favorite Hex hater, which we've got a story on that today.
Hey, yeah.
We've got Drew, Crypto Prepper, the one with the Druth. We've got the beautiful Ali Lee with your, show me your new shirt. Does it say it on the front? Yeah.
It's on the back.
Oh, let me see.
Can you guys see it?
Yeah, blockchain
Oh,
baby.
yeah.
We're cooking up the next generation, the Bitcoiners of the future are
That's
in
right.
the works. And
TJ distributed his ledger.
I sure did.
Nice.
The infamous, the one and only Biscuit Jesus, the magician himself,
Hey.
Magic Man.
Look
Look
at
at
that
that.
sweet Kirby shirt.
God, look at
That
that.
is
Hold
pretty
on,
sweet.
it's
Whoa.
designer. It's Kirby.
Kirby. Yeah, I love it. BJ the
Very
Beautiful with the magic. He's got all sorts of well, never mind. We'll leave that one alone.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
he's got a lot going on.
That's
Family
for my
show.
Patreon.
Yeah, family show. We
Family
said
show.
we're going to try to tone down the language. Oh, and shout out to YouTube. We're right at 6,999 subscribers right now. So if you're watching right now and you haven't subscribed yet, not only do you have a chance to be the 7,000th subscriber, but if you get in sub 10K, there might be something special for all of you kind of OG members of the basement on YouTube.
Are we doing an ICO?
No, definitely not that. Definitely not that. But if you get in before 10K, obviously, you know, we all know this is going to blow up in the bull market. We talk about it all the time. So when the attention comes back to the space, this is one of the most fun shows to hang out on a daily basis. Get your questions answered, talk about all the different stuff. So if you want to be part of that, subscribe now, because we know we have a lot of you guys that watch that aren't subscribed yet. And I just want to pump those numbers up. Of course, smash the likes if you guys want to get this message out there.
Otherwise, Drew's going to come to your house. Although I realize that's incentive for some
Yeah,
people.
I'll just say, wait, Drew's coming. Wait a minute.
Hello,
Let me unlock the
nurse.
doors, you know. No, smash
Wow.
likes. Let us know in the comments things you want to hear us talk about. I do my best to read and respond to all of those comments, as well as pull from them when it comes to future topics. So yeah, we love all of you guys. Of course, all of you guys in the basement as well. Follow, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. So, let me just check in with everybody. You know, weekend went by. We had some price action. We were talking a little bit before the show started about what we're going to expect here in the future. I personally tend to think we're going to be in a, you know, this range, nothing really all that interesting happening. You know, we might bounce between, you know, 20, 21 to 25, but I don't really see a major breakout in either direction in the near future, maybe the next month or so. But Nick, what's your take on that? Agree, disagree?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, welcome, boys and girls, to the boringest bear market. We had I think Sin City Crypto called it the heart attack chart, where basically when Silvergate sold everything Friday and Bitcoin dropped, you know, $1,000 or whatever. And man, I tell you what, I've sworn off leverage trading because I'm terrible at it, but I had to set along. When Bitcoin, when Ethereum, I set along on Ethereum. And I'm feeling like we are at, like, we bottomed at 14 or wherever we were back in November, December, and this is the new bottom. So financial advice, dollar cost average, right? If
there
you're
you
here, like, that's it. I know some people on Twitter have, like, fundamentally, like, I don't know, shoved a screwdriver into their temple and think that DCAing is not good, but literally the math proves that DCAing is the best way to invest if you are not able to read charts like Frankie Candles, and like I'm not able to do that. So I have some fun money that I'm leverage trading with, but guys, like, we're in it.
Yeah, we're in that tight range. Chemistry Bro says I 50x shorted that recent drop. Was a nice 250% trade for me.
Hey.
Heck yeah, I love to see it when the
Love
basement
that.
is killing it, making money. We also have Solar Miner in Spain asked if Drew can wave your hands when Nick moves. It looks like it's glitching on him. Now it might just be the computer or the. We do get some weird glitchy stuff down here. We are in the basement.
No,
guys.
it's perfect.
Yeah, I mean it's part of the vibe. You know,
great.
like and as Nick was saying, you know. This reminds me so much of 2019. I don't know if it's the most boring bear market ever because I was bored out of my mind in 2019, but it feels very similar to me. I feel like there's at least more public interest going on with everything happening with the SEC, with everything happening with government regulation, people trying to, you know, whether it's stablecoin regulation, which again, like regulating stablecoins, like that's not all that exciting, but at least it's relevant and it's moving. It's setting the stage for the future of the industry. Somebody said, I got to wait till the Fed finds the brakes. I tend to agree with that. It'll be very interesting to see what they do in upcoming meetings, if they continually raise, if they raise more, because they're not getting inflation under control, regardless of what they're telling you guys.
Nope. So
the question is, do they still feign and pretend that they are and then back off the gas like they've said, or do they do a couple 50 basis points raises? We'll see. But at some point, they're going to have to turn the gas back on, and that's, I think, when things really start to happen. That's why a lot of people are predicting kind of a fun summer. Scott Free says the next move up starts tomorrow, 28K by the end of March. I will vehemently disagree with that. I was about to say literally the exact opposite. I don't think we see much fun until we get into Q2. March, we're just going to kind of peter along until something, until we get to the end of March. But I think April, May, June, we might see some action. But, we'll have to wait and see. You could be right. But I don't think so.
Also,
Drew.
I'm calling it Blazing 2JZ. The only thing lagging is your turbo.
Oh,
I'm kidding.
Car humor.
Oh, man.
All right, now I got to know what it is. It's a type of car.
2JZ is the super motor.
It's
and it's in
the
an
Supra.
IS300, and then like BMW's N55, they call it the German 2JZ.
Got it.
But it's the engine everybody wants.
Guys, believe it or not, I'm not a car guy.
Yeah, we know.
I have a fun car, but I don't
bought
know.
a Nissan.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about cars. I like driving them. I like enjoying them. But when it comes to details, talk to BJ, talk to Iran. But Drew, what are you feeling? What was your weekend activity like for crypto?
On Friday, I bought a pretty big chunk of Bitcoin. After the big drop, I bought Bitcoin and Optimism, and I've been learning about Tao, TAO. A couple new projects, FET.
Is it some kind of DAO type thing? What is Tao?
So, I mean, basically, I have to look more into it. I can't even remember. I think it was more tied into. I think it was like an AI type system.
BitTensor Tao?
BitTensor.
Interesting.
When did you buy it?
I didn't buy it yet. I'm learning about it. So, because it's not really like, I don't feel like it's my time to move into these really small projects right now.
It's up 75,000%.
Yeah. I mean,
that's it.
Like what? What is this?
Look at the all time though. Like,
is that an API?
I haven't even looked at the graph. I've been just learning about the tech.
Holy
really.
balls.
Like,
Boink.
What? Did that happen today? When was
that happened?
Oh, shit. Is
today.
Drew rich now?
Did it really?
That's why I was asking if you bought it.
I should have bought some then.
Yeah.
It went from 13 cents to $100.
What?
Something ain't right here.
That's not
I think
right.
there's a problem.
Did you check
that issue.
CoinGecko?
Yeah,
I've been trying to find out more about these like small projects that everyone's been talking about though.
I see Allie like fuming over there. She's like, "Why didn't we buy this?"
Well, and I had it up on the rundown for the computer on Friday, but I didn't even get to it. But like, I still have pretty good conviction in projects like FET and DAG and those types of layer zero narratives. I feel like aren't even here yet, and people aren't talking about them. So that's why I feel like learning about them now before they become a narrative and being like positioned ahead of them. So I feel really good about purchasing Bitcoin between 18 to 25, all the way in that range.
Yep.
Once we reach 25, that's when I'm going to start looking into these smaller type of projects basically. And I see all the things happening with NFTs, all the innovation and stuff. I still don't feel like wrapping up a bunch of money into pictures yet. And I don't know if I ever will, honestly. Like, I'm trying to put my mind around the use case and the utility for them. I spend my time learning and researching, but I still haven't seen anything very, very useful for it. And on the macroeconomic side, there's a ton of stuff I've been keeping up with that isn't too crypto friendly, but basically it plays into financial markets. And, I don't, on the Fed rate side, I don't see them going to 50 base points. They'll look like idiots if they do that. We might see extended 25 base points, getting them up to that 6% funding rate. That'll go a little bit into or beyond the summer is what I see. I don't think that they can go up to 50 points and speed up the process, but this may be a slow bleed where eventually people won't even care about them. They'll just expect another 25 base points. And the car market's crashing. So I'm watching the car market crash and Carvana go out of business, and I'm just rubbing my hands together on the sidelines waiting for some cheap vehicles.
You're looking to flip some cars?
Oh, yeah.
The truth is out there.
Ooh, fancy.
Real quick update. I looked up BitTensor on CoinGecko, and it looks, looks a little bit different on the max. So I think that's just a reporting error.
Well,
on
Rasmus has said it just got listed. He said
Yeah, it's
Matt
brand
Hamilton
new.
from Ripple and Filecoin is one of the original devs.
Interesting. Yeah, something to keep an eye on. I'm not going that deep down the rabbit hole right now. Just to see why we're talking about it being boring. Like basically, if you look at the last week since that Silvergate drop, I mean, it dropped down to about 22.3, call it.
Yep.
And we're
Heart
sitting
attack.
at about 22.5 right now. So it's just a whole lot of boring action the last few days. I mean, if you look at the month, we're falling back into a general range here. This is a 3 month. You know,
It's reasonable though. Look at those stash steps.
Retesting 21.5 is
amazing.
extremely reasonable. I mean, obviously we had a quick move up to 20, almost 25 right off of that. So this is what they'll call a healthy pullback. If you guys are new, you know, like here's the true what we think is the bottom of this range here. Had a quick move up back above 20. You know, so 21 becomes a pretty key support, or even this is probably 21.5ish, right? Or 21.2, 21.5, something like that. So we're right within the range. You know, we'll probably stay there for a while. You know, similar with Ethereum. We're going to look at a story here about how Ethereum is in a very one of the best accumulation zones you've ever seen. To their points, Friday I also I think that was on the Silvergate news accumulated more Bitcoin. Basically, I always talk about buying things other than Bitcoin and Ethereum, but bought more Bitcoin strictly this time. A lot of times I end up buying Bitcoin, Ethereum, telling myself I'm going to turn my Ethereum into something else later, and then just like I kind of like the Ethereum. So, but I do have too much Ethereum relative to the rest of my portfolio. I was trying to keep it balanced. I do have, let's see,
Perfectly balanced.
yeah, Ethereum. I mean, I got a decent amount of Cardano, a decent amount of Cosmos, a decent amount. I do have a chunk of Algo, like to Drew's point, Optimism and Matic. I've got now, but I've got a. What happened there? Why is it crooked?
That's crazy.
Oh, they're going in on that.
It's
it's
the
the
Is that a
zipper.
turtle or a dragon? What is
It's
that
a
thing?
plesiosaurus.
Oh, okay.
I totally forgot to mention I
Wow.
bought a pretty good chunk of Silvergate
Oh, you
on
did?
Friday.
Yeah,
and
you and Deezy.
that's been getting my blood pressure moving.
Which way?
Both ways.
Yeah,
So
okay.
yeah, it's it's like up by like 10% or something like that this morning. But I bought it somewhere around $7, so it's still slightly down from where I purchased it. And this is one of those things. Oh, hello, Mr. Dinosaur. I like buying chaos. I'm a fan of moving against the grain and buying where like just moving towards the rushing crowd as it flows past me. That's the only way I've learned how to make money in the past is when people are scared and running and fudding and all that stuff. I just keep moving forward. So I bought a little chunk of that, and I don't see it going away, but I do see like new exchanges finding a use case for Silvergate in the future because they already got those rails and those understanded processes figured out for banking in crypto. So yeah, I mean, none of the huge players are using it right now, but there's going to be a slew of new players that we don't even know about that are going to exist 2 or 3 years from now. So yeah, I definitely see it as still being around, but it's a high risk, high reward type situation. That's how I
Speaking of
gotta
high
move.
risk, high reward, can we welcome Gary's Guzzler to the YouTube chat?
Gary's Guzzler.
No. There's a question in TikTok. What is everyone's favorite sandwich?
I like an Italian sub, like a classic Italian sub with. I like the Jimmy John's one with red cherry peppers.
My favorite sandwich is one that I make because I make some bomb ass sandwiches.
Really?
Yeah. Like I stack them with like it doesn't really like whatever's in the grabbing range. I stack up the meats and
Dagwood.
pepper jack cheese, turkey, ham, salami, roast beef, maybe lettuce, tomato, pickles, onions, jalapeno, any kind of peppers I can find.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Just-
change my answer to TJ sandwiches.
Yeah, I make some really good sandwiches.
TJ sandwiches. Drew,
How
what
about
about
some
you? BJ.
granny apples with brie
Yes.
and then some
that's
prosciutto?
little honey in there.
And then ham, and basically do it as like a grilled cheese.
Yeah.
Oh
Stuff.
wow, yeah.
So okay, see, I'm a little bit of a. I have a panini maker at home. Like that really ups the sandwich game. You start throwing
really
it on
does.
a panini press, and you got a whole other world of opportunities there. Like I love that example there. And somebody asked, why did I get out of it? I didn't. I said I have a bag of OP and a bag of Matic.
You added to your
Added to
Matic.
it, yeah.
Drew, what's your favorite
I
sandwich?
make a special one pretty much every day. It's
Peanut butter and jelly. We know.
no
It's bear
potato
market.
bread, and then I put
Already
hard
off to a good
salami,
start. Yeah.
and then I melt cheese onto it. I toast it, I melt cheese onto it, and then I put a whole fat layer of avocado spread, and then I
Okay.
douse it in Chipotle Tabasco sauce, and then I pour a bag of Cheez-Its on it. and then I smash it all together.
That's
All right.
God, you
yeah.
should be 400
Jesus,
pounds.
yeah.
Yeah.
And somehow he's still dropping weight.
Somehow.
No, I'm getting thick. I'll tell you. I'm
Some
getting.
people in the chat were wondering who's going to be at the book signing, the
Wednesday
meetup
night?
in Atlanta.
Meetup Wednesday night in Atlanta. I will be there.
I'll
I'll
sign
be there.
books if I need to.
Drew will be there.
I got
Nick,
you.
you going to be here?
Wednesday night?
Wednesday night, 7 o'clock?
Yeah, I'll be here.
There you go. Most of us. Ali, will you be
Yeah,
here?
I'll probably be here.
All right. BJ?
Oh, now you're gonna ask me. Yeah, I'll sign some books.
Yeah, exactly. I do like chicken salad, but not really on a sandwich. I usually just eat that plain.
Yeah.
So-
Question from
Raw.
Phil in the attic. Do alts take off when the bull run starts for Bitcoin, or do they lag?
I say generally speaking, they lag. I mean, the halving is really what kicks things off, and it's not quite as immediate as you think. Like you're waiting for the halving, and then the halving comes, like, ah, and nothing happens for like a month or 2 months.
Yeah,
And
that's
then-
like
and then
prom night.
Yeah, exactly. All the build up, none of the blow off top, as they say.
Exactly.
It builds and builds, and then nothing happens immediately after, and then it starts to move. And then with Bitcoin moving up, obviously other altcoins do start to move up. But you see the most explosive moves for altcoins towards the end of the cycle when Bitcoin starts to top out. So that, a little bit generally. Yeah. Does the OP huge token unlock scare me? Not really. I know, HBAR had a big one. That one actually has my attention more than what's going on with OP. But OP is getting so much use, so much utility, so much built on it.
Yeah.
I'm not too worried about it. It's again, they're in accumulation zones for me. When it dips, I'm going to buy a little bit. Not always, because again, like I said, I'm buying a lot of Bitcoin and Ethereum, but I mean, that's part of the game. Token. I mean, obviously, supply and demand token unlocks happen. Hopefully, it dips on the token unlock, and then I can buy a little bit more. But these are long-term holds for me. These are things I'm looking to hold into 24 and 20, really into mid to late 25. I'm not day trading these things. I'm not really swing trading these things. So the short term of the unlocks, like I know they're coming. It's part of the tokenomics. So I'm not too intimidated. What about you guys? You guys look at a lot of that stuff?
I mean, I was watching the HBAR one, but I mean, the price nothing really happened in the price action on that massive unlock. It was like 6% of the tokens, and everyone's telling me to flee and run for my life. I was like, no, I'm just going to sit here and I like it. Yeah. It's still double where I bought it originally. So it's like, I'm not worried about it at all. And basically, like, I'm going to be buying more HBAR, but that's not going to be until we breach that 25 mark and then we get some real good price action. We'll see. Like we see the AI tokens they ripped just for the momentary narrative, and then they come back down. And like I think last cycle Doge precluded everything. But
actually, almost every cycle Dogecoin is one of the first big pump. It's kind of the signal of the bull market starting again, especially for altcoins. That's because at the time, and that narrative might start to fade over time. At the time, or previous cycles, Dogecoin was one of the first altcoins created, so it's held by a lot of major Bitcoin and Ethereum whales. It was also one of the first low Satoshi denominated projects where it's very easy to liquidate longs or liquidate shorts by moving it up just a couple clicks. So it's very easy for whales to manipulate that. Kind of like Shiba Inus, that sort of stuff. So you could see when those things, when they would almost like experienced people would say like, oh, the Dogecoin pump kind of kicks off the start of the bull run. So always key in and keep an eye on that.
It's like a canary in the coal mine.
Yes,
what I always think of
exactly.
it as.
Interesting point about Doge. I am doing a Dogecoin miner giveaway. I fixed my Dogecoin miner, and I'm going to give it away to some people somewhere on Twitter. Probably. I don't know. I gotta do that. I don't know how to do that.
You gotta figure it out.
Gotta figure it out.
Let's get it going.
So you can Doge mine.
Question from Angel Garcia in the attic. How do you feel about holding crypto on Robinhood Webull?
I mean, here's the funny story. Like I bought, like when I first got into crypto, like right around that, I bought like a bunch of Ethereum at like $300 on Robinhood. And then everyone talked about, man, it sucks that it's on Robinhood and you shouldn't be doing that and you're a fool. And I was like, it was at $4,800. And I bought it at $300. I was like, all right, I don't have the actual address to this. This is just a representation. I should probably sell this. I sold the perfect peak.
Nice.
All on Robinhood just because everyone was saying how horrible it was. Logged back in, 2 or 3 years later, the original account of whatever's left is still there. And I just transferred it over to Silvergate or whatever. So I don't know. It's, it worked for
you.
The money was green.
Yeah.
That's
well,
money was
here's my
green.
answer on that. The reason a lot of people hate Robinhood or FUD it, especially like to what Drew's point, that point in time is for a long time they didn't have withdrawals enabled. So it was all, like he said, just representation. It wasn't really yours. You're not custodying it, and you couldn't. They wouldn't allow you to self-custody it. Now they did, I think it was just last week, announce a self-custody wallet option on Robinhood. So they're moving, I'll say they're moving in the right direction. That being said, it's owned by Citadel. Not a big fan of Citadel, their business practices, or what's the guy's name? The
Ken
owner.
Griffin.
Ken Griffin.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not the baseball player. He's very revered on the stock market, but there's just some weird stuff about their business operations that doesn't really add up to me. So, I don't trust it, which in crypto, a lot of us lean on, verify, don't trust, self-custody, don't, let a third party custody it. That being said, I do know it brought a lot of people into the ecosystem. It was a lot of people's first exposure through GameStop, through AMC, but then again, at the same time, when a lot of that stuff was going on, a lot of these, retail traders were trading on Robinhood. They were trying to do that short squeeze on GameStop and AMC, and Robinhood literally turned off the what was it, the buy button, right? They wouldn't they wouldn't let people buy. They would not let people squeeze out their basically institutional trading stock positions that were getting squeezed, and retail was winning, and they took away your avenue to win. And so like stuff like that is really what turned me off when it comes to Robinhood. So it's not something I mess with. But like what Drew was saying, if you are on there, if you do hold crypto or things on there, you can use it. But long term, just what do you want to support? What do you want to stand for? And for me, it's not Robinhood.
Yeah, like since I sold out, sold all my stuff on Robinhood, I haven't continually bought on there by any means. But it's basically everything that I've bought from that moment has all gone to a ledger. And just learn self-custody, after that moment, after you learn about, you don't have the actual address, you don't have the keys to this. So that kind of spurred my interest in figuring out self-custody. And it was pretty healthy to go through that process, honestly, because then I was able to understand how to actually hold my own crypto on a ledger, feel comfortable with it, and get accumulated to it with a reason. You never go any place unless you have a reason to go there. So you have to go through the learning process, and a bunch of people, mainstream retail, they'll get re-exposed to crypto through Robinhood again in the next market, and it does bring in a lot of money to the market. But these learning lessons are kind of what spurred me to even, take on a ledger or multiple ledgers and figure that stuff out for myself.
Yeah, and go ahead, Nick.
I was gonna say two things. One, I want to respond
Crypto Killer Well,
in the attic.
coaster.
Nick, I have a HNT Bobcat 360 miner. Is it possible to repurpose that to mine something
coaster.
else? No, you cannot. You are boned. Helium is a scam. You should know that because they partnered with Solana. I'm sorry, bro. Sell that thing. Sell that thing
to the next idiot.
Yeah, you got to get rid of that. Keep on mining. Like, don't drop the keep the torch alive. But I would highly recommend getting into Shia coin mining. It's a great storage coin project, or just Flux. But yeah, so ASIC for Shia, and then Flux for GPUs. Second thing is there's like that during the bull run. There's the Coinbase. Basically, anytime you look and see what Coinbase recommends in there as soon as you open up the app, and those are going to be the coins that every time there's a new news cycle. Those are what the coins are people are going to FOMO into during the bull.
Yeah, totally.
All the newbies, because they're going to FOMO into Litecoin and
Graph
Doge and ETH, because it was ETH Classic last time. All these other ones. So that's one way that you'll FOMO. So you can watch the FOMO on Robinhood and Coinbase and just kind of like swing trade those. Because retail's just gonna be like, what, Litecoin? It's like a cheaper Bitcoin. Ah!
Yeah.
You get in.
Yeah, you got to think like a normie sometimes, even if you've been here for a while. You got to think about what's the most obvious low-hanging fruit for them. And I mean, it's obvious to us because we're here in the bear market. We're paying attention and analyzing things when things are boring. But when the market comes back, you got to remember that you're going to have people that have no exposure or experience in this pulling up that Coinbase app, and it's going to be low-hanging fruit that they're going to choose to begin with.
And it doesn't have the same effect it once did, but basically if you're getting ahead of the curve, if you can kind of predict coins that you think are going to float up to the top to the retail masses and get in on them early, obviously that's where there's a lot of opportunity. I remember having a very similar approach in 2017, thinking like, oh man, like back then I think Coinbase probably only had 3 to 5 coins on there. So if you could go out on Binance, on any of these other platforms, that was before Uniswap was really a thing. And that's another place you can get a lot of projects on Uniswap before they hit centralized exchange listings. And then, obviously a big cash infusion from those centralized exchanges. I did see earlier in the chat, Crypto Stevo, you mentioned if I like the Cosmos ecosystem to check out INJ, Injective. Is it injective, right? Not injective. Yeah, injective protocol. I always want to call it injunctive for some reason, but it's on my list. I have checked it out. I am aware of it. I'm not accumulating it right now, but yeah, it is on the it's on the watch list for sure.
He also asked, I'm a little worried about all the ZK layer 2 rollups coming out in addition to Arbitrum. Too much ETH layer 2 competition?
That's competition is the name of the game.
Yep.
You know, it's a niche and a narrative to keep an eye on. I agree. There is, there's almost what feels like a never-ending amount of projects to look at in that regard. That's why you have to look at the teams. That's why you have to look at the brands. I feel like Matic has a pretty big head start. So them rolling it in is pretty good. Mina also pretty high up on CoinMarketCap when it comes to market cap support, advertising, awareness, all that sort of stuff. So there's a lot out there. I would say mess with them, but it's not going to be a winner-take-all environment. There's going to be a lot of different solutions and tests, and it's going to ebb and flow. But yeah, it's a very interesting narrative to keep an eye on. There is a lot of competition, though. You are correct. Kind of like the perpetual DEXs. A lot of those coming out there right now. A handful of them will do well and be extremely successful, but there's way more in existence than will probably all hit scale at market. And a lot of them are being multi-chain. I know Velas Exchange is one that I've got my eye on. Yep. We've talked about it on the show before. Apex Exchange is another one put together by the founders and the creators of Bybit. So we know they know how to do a perpetuals marketplace. That's another decentralized exchange that could do extremely well. But yeah, that's definitely something to keep an eye on. So yeah, let's hit some of these stories real quick. I want to look at Ethereum accumulation, but I do love the Q&A. You guys are great questions. Wiz Khalifa needs to drop a ZK rollup project. Okay, interesting. All right, BTC price in the chop zone. 5 things to know in Bitcoin this week. There are some pretty some big speeches and stuff coming out. Despite losing 5% an hour last week, Bitcoin's that's a little, in an hour. I was like 5% an hour. That definitely didn't say, but 1 hour it dropped 5%. That was on the Silvergate news and volatility. Bitcoin's subsequent lack of volatility is on every trader's mind. That's what we talked about a little bit today. Bitcoin price stays paralyzed after the weekly closed. March 3rd, a combination of Silvergate bank concerns and exchange margin calls, which really, guys, whenever the price moves very quickly, very fast, generally speaking, it is margin calls. It's shorts getting liquidated, or longs getting liquidated. In this scenario, a lot of longs got liquidated, drops the price very quickly, and then it just chills there. And it's scary. It's a lot more scary than it is predictive of a trend, I would say. Yep. You want to keep an eye on, watch Frankie Candles if you want to watch some of the macro longer term trends. It does seem like there is a slight, we're towards the bottom end of the range right now. He covered it on the BitBoy Crypto morning stream today. We could get a slight move up on the daily, on like a short-term time frame, but again, we're talking moving, from low 22s up to maybe 23. We're not talking about a long-term macro trade, which again, that's generally what I'm focused on here. Yeah. Michael Vanderpope, founder and CEO of trading firm 8. It's a funny name for a trading firm. There's still a reason to believe that the market will soon draw a line under the current short-term trend, which is pretty much what I was just talking about. You can see here, we're definitely, this is almost, that's so funny. This is almost exactly what Frank drew today with the, the value area high being up here, the value area low being down here. We're towards the bottom of that range.
Is Frankie working for them too?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're stealing his charts. We could go down and really test the bottom end of this range before moving back up. Or we could just kind of bounce along this section here and move up just a little bit and just kind of range in the middle of there. So again, and that's what I tend to think is going to happen in the the next week or 2 weeks. Some kind of boring ranging going on there when the price action. So, but again, I think Nick was saying this earlier. That's an opportunity for you guys. It gives you time. Do some research, build your dry powder, get your fiat together, get it into Bitcoin, get it into Ethereum, use this as your accumulation time, and look at this as a gift because sometimes boring is beautiful because it gives you opportunity. So
yeah, I mean, look, guys,
that's so sweet, TJ. Are you talking about me?
No, you're not boring at all, BJ.
Oh, God damn it!
Look, if you're not putting in the time. If you're not like me, like I'm putting in the time on Grindr, on Tinder, on Bumble, I'm selling feet pics. If you're not doing that during this time, look, you're just missing out. So follow me on Grindr.
Find your side hustles. Nick selling feet pics. Drew's out there fixing fences.
I sell a lot of pics, bro.
I think that kind of answers this question. But earlier, Jimmy Sobo said, "Buying my forever home and having major FOMO about being able to add to my bags this year now. Am I still going to make it.
You're still going to make it. Look, you got a lot of time. This is the future foundation of the internet. You know, you've got a whole year right now, but I can definitely relate to that feeling of wanting to. There's some feet
those new
pics.
kicks. That's what he did with the feet pics.
Cole Haan, baby.
Yeah.
Wow.
You definitely have time to accumulate. Like I said, you're going to have most of this year. You pretty much have until the Bitcoin halving to do the bulk of your accumulating. It will move up into the halving. I would say, maybe early 24. You're going to start to your FOMO's really going to start kicking in because it's going to be moving back up probably into that 30 to 40 range before the halving.
Yep.
But yeah, you've got time, and it. This is what cracked. Ben and I were having this conversation not too long ago. That feeling, that FOMO feeling you're having right now, we had in 2018, 2019. Like we're missing it. We're missing out. This is the opportunity of a lifetime. We're never going to get this again. And while it's somewhat true, like you have just as good of an opportunity to accumulate right now as you did in 2019. You know, it's on a major pullback. It's going to stay down in this range for a fair bit of time. But yeah, if you're making big major purchases like your dream home, that's still a great thing. Good for you. Yeah, real estate is also another hard investment. It's a sound, they're not making more, supply and demand economics definitely apply when you're talking about real estate. Don't over-improve for your area, but other than that.
Mike King said, I'm legit donating plasma.
Hey, that's awesome.
That's one way to do it.
Good. We covered that.
That's great.
Did we cover that on here where you're like what you get for an eyeball, what you get for a kidney, what you get for a testicle? I don't know. I saw that tweet. I don't know if we did, but
there's a great thing I saw on TikTok over the weekend with this guy talking about finances, doing what's what's rational and doing what's reasonable. So yes,
there's a difference.
You can see all these people on TikTok who are like, don't pay off your home. Take as long as you can to pay off your mortgage because you should be putting your money in
stocks
into other stocks and whatever plays and investing that money. And other people say, no, you have to pay off your home now. And the guy was just like, look, as long as you're actively managing your money, you're doing great. And there's a case to be made for one, there's a case to be made for another. And if you paying off your mortgage is going to make you sleep better at night because that's going to make you feel better, then guess what? That's not a dumb thing to do with your money.
Yeah.
And that's a goal. You need a goal in life. And like on the feeling FOMO right now, like I do.
Get a reverse mortgage? No.
I acknowledge my FOMO right now, but I don't see it as bad because you don't know if you have tomorrow. You might die in a car crash. So, yeah, I mean, it might happen. So, no day is guaranteed to you. And I just kind of keep that in the back of my mind that I'm always putting as much money together for my kids and my wife as possible because I might not be here the next day. So it's always about, acknowledging that. And I mean, I have FOMO now and I'll still have FOMO after we hit 30K, but the retail people will have massive FOMO once we hit that 35 mark. And it'll come back in a big way, but I don't think that'll come until the elections start up and we got to talk the nation back into Sleepy Joe's hands. So,
great advice, and really, from both of you guys. And that's something like if we all believe this is the really the financial revolution of a lifetime, we're always going to feel FOMO. You never feel like you have enough Bitcoin or enough crypto when you know what's going to happen in the bull markets. You always want to have more, but paying off debt. Buying, building a house of your dreams, setting up your family for a happy, fulfilling future is really what this is all about. So you want to always want to keep that in mind. So great advice there. So all eyes on Feds Powell. Interesting way to say that. As macro signals return, the macroeconomic scene begins to heat up in the coming days after a cool week with Jerome Powell, chair of the United States Federal Reserve, due for 2 rounds of testimony. And so this is not an FOMC meeting necessarily. So he's
after talking about testicles, I'm surprised you said that right.
Powell's words to the U.S. Congress House Financial Services Committee could flip the overall mood, at least briefly, depending on his language regarding the future economic policy. Expecting Bitcoin volatility to pick up during the midweek next week during Powell's testimony. Trader, analyst, angel investor, Crypto Santa confirmed. Hey, what a nice guy. Yeah. Key events for the week ahead. This is something to keep an eye on. Tuesday, RBA statement / presser and Powell testifies to the Senate Banking Committee. Wednesday, the European Central Bank, Christine Lagarde, plus Powell speak on both. They both speak on Wednesday. Friday, Bank of Japan statement and press release. And also on Friday, the U.S. NFP employment data releases. So we've got a lot of big macroeconomic things coming out. As Cointelegraph reported, liquidity decisions of central banks outside the U.S. are increasingly considered an important influence on Bitcoin markets, which we've covered that here on this show with the People's Bank of China and the Japanese, or the Bank of Japan, basically central banks, both with the cash infusion. And then we did see, especially with a lot of Eastern-based projects, they all kind of pumped right off of that. Liquidity leads, price lags. According to the CME Group, the odds of the Fed's March rate hike coming to 50 basis points versus the 25 basis points now stands at 28.6 as of March 6th. So we're starting to see that number tick up. Like it's still... Yeah, it's still leaning here, but it is starting to tick up a little bit in the 500 to 525 range. Another adjustment, another all-time high when it comes to Bitcoin difficulty. So this is another thing to keep in mind. The fundamentals for Bitcoin are still trending in the right direction, still trending up. Like we've got, the difficulty here, the hash rate, all that sort of stuff moving in the right direction. What is this? Nonetheless, hash rate again. Additional data shows miners have yet to begin a firm accumulation trend. Now, this is interesting to keep an eye on at current prices, despite being 40% up versus the start of the year. So here you can see Bitcoin miner net position change, always something to keep an eye on. They bought a lot beginning of the year, sold a little bit of their profits here, bought a little bit more on a dip in February, and they're selling what is their profits right now. Funding rates giving some optimism. Bitcoin funding rate doing similar to Ethereum now, turned negative a couple times after the nuke a few days ago. Prior to this, funding rates were last negative before the pump to 25K. So again, you see, obviously people took some profits on that. I mean, it was a good move at the start of the year. They need some operating funds, not necessarily too much of a surprise here. Sentiment index hit 6-week lows, according to the Crypto Fear and Greed Index, which again, this is a very unofficial index or indicator. The mood on the ground is neutral, while return of fear is getting even nearer, which again, that's great for us to accumulate. Let me see if do they not link to it? Yeah, here we go. Let's see if we can pull it up.
Mystery link.
Yeah, never click mystery links. I did read what it said. So it is right on neutral right now. You want to see it. You want to see it leaning towards the red generally in accumulation. It is interesting to me. I would think, based on sentiment, it does, if you talk to normies, it tends to skew a little bit lower. But also the only people I'd say that are in Bitcoin and crypto right now are generally seasoned veterans at this point. Yeah, they're not. Yeah, they're the true degens like most of you guys. You're not. It's not your fly-by-night retail traders. Yeah. But again, like if you go back and look, this is not always 100% accurate, but if you buy when it's in over here and you sell when it's over here, you're going to be doing pretty good, that's what I say. Don't overthink it. Don't overcomplicate it. Buy in the red, sell in the green.
Jerome Powell sold the top.
Did he?
He sure did. And
wow.
It made me think of that, conversation over the weekend. People were talking about Jerome Powell's base salary being only like 190K.
Yeah.
It's not much when you think about like how much stress he deals with, but then I was like, oh, he probably knows exactly where the markets are going. Right. And so I started looking at that past. And he sold the same bonds that were bought by the Fed during the the flu season, moved in lockstep with them. And he also, sold right at the top of the end of 2021. And then he gets the wonderful privilege of being the guy to cheerlead banning federal officials being able to own stocks after the fact, after he makes his millions of dollars. So sure. They're in the know. And I don't have much sympathy for him or, really the Federal Reserve as a whole. I think that I'm starting the conversation on my Twitter about safety committees and how we can kind of rein in a little bit of control and take some power back to the municipal side and the sheriff level of our economy and just basically everything as a whole. This massive federal government needs to be shrunk, and we need to do it from the micro out to the macro. That's how it was done originally, and we can easily do it again. So
yeah, the French tried that.
No, we did that, and it succeeded in 1763. We began it. So yeah.
Yeah.
Ethereum, we got this tweet from Moon Overlord. ETH is in one of the most obvious accumulation ranges of all time. A lot of head site analysis will be done when it's at 5K, 7K, whatever in a few years. Why didn't you buy more here? And people are going to be flipping out over $100 moves, which I tend to agree with. The difference between 1,300, 1,400, 1,500, not dramatic when you're talking 5K, 7K, 10K potentially. I think we could definitely see 10K plus for Ethereum.
So, question, TJ, should I leave my long open?
Well, it depends.
how
I mean,
long?
there's so many parameters there. If you know,
Like, this is just
low
a fun,
leverage, big capital.
It's come on, TJ. It's low leverage. It's low leverage, low capital.
Okay.
All right. Thanks. Thanks for blowing me up on the stream.
No, well, I'm just saying that matters when you're talking about long term.
I only
trades.
do non KYC 5x leverage on KuCoin. So
Right.
yeah. But,
Okay.
I mean, I put it along at 1560. It feels like this is. I'm not going to get wicked out on over anything. I feel like I could just kind of leave this open to like 5K. Would that even make? Is that dumb? I don't even know how leverage trading works, other than me getting liquidated. That's how I know. That's how I know.
That's why
it
I
works.
ask. Is there is a price for holding it open? You got funding rates. You've got so that's why the size does matter somewhat. And
It's like $1,000.
Yeah, when you're liquid, and the more capital you have, like if you needed to add to it to lower your liquidation rate and all that sort of stuff. So if you're liquidate, you said your liquidation's at 1,500.
No. My liquidation is until like 900.
900.
Because I'm 5x.
Yeah, then you're fine. You probably do have,
It's fine.
but you'll have to carry it. So yeah, there's a pretty good opportunity there. To hold it open for a decent amount of time.
Yeah.
Because I do think it will have a very hard time getting under $1,000. So
Yeah.
Right.
But
then,
I might leave it open and then do like a little Twitter update every once in a while.
Yeah,
Say,
that'd
hey,
be
here's
good.
where I'm at.
And this is what I wanted to point out, and I agree with Moon Overlord 100%. People are going to be flipping out over details when it really makes big moves. If we come over and we look at Ethereum's, here's the long term. Like here's the 2018 top here when it hit basically $1,400, and then it bottomed. And it traded. This is the range we're in right now. This is why I say it's the boring range of here's all of 28, it went down all of 2018. So that was your 2022, right? And then all of 2019, it pretty much was in this range. So people were debating, should I buy it 127 or should I buy it 172?
Yeah, it doesn't
should I
matter.
buy it 211? Should I buy it 140? Like, who cares when it got all the way up here to 4 or to almost 5, basically?
Yeah.
Like, this part doesn't really matter, generally speaking. And if you continue to... Let's see, you continue to pull this in. That's kind of the range we're in right now where, we had this top here at almost 5K basically. And then all of 2022, we fell. We bottomed really, this isn't really showing.
1,000.
Yeah, it really doesn't. Oh, there it is, 900 right there. June 2022 on a lot of that collapse. We had that pretty strong recovery. The merge happened. And I think that obviously helped the tokenomics a decent amount. I don't know if I can get that zoom out a little bit. Yeah, there you go. Drop me off there. So we're right in this range right here where I think we're going to trade 1,200 to 1,400, 1,500, 1,600, like all in this range. We'll probably stay in for quite some time.
Yep.
And it's a very clear accumulation range, in my opinion, where you can see like we're going back and we're retesting these levels here. But, basically this is February 21 levels before the big run up. And then once we get the next halving and all this stuff kicks in again, you're going to have a huge opportunity. Like I said, I think it will go 5K, 7K, even potentially north of 10K, which is a pretty slam dunk trade if you're done any kind of traditional trading ever.
Oh, yeah.
A 10x or a 8x is insane. You're not going to get that anywhere else. So, and that's something I do want to encourage a lot of you guys. Crypto is great. There's huge gains to be made. You hear a lot of people talk, 25x, 50x, 100x. Don't go chasing too many 100x flips or pumps or, they're out there. They can happen. But they're not common. They're not as common as people will lead you to believe in crypto. 10x's all day long.
Yep.
And if you hit 5 10x's, that's just as good as hitting a 50x, right? I mean, and you could argue maybe it's better because you have less risk. You're more diversified. You have more a safer, the better risk reward profile on your portfolio. And that's something you need to keep in mind. You can put, some small bags, they call them moon bags for a reason. You're throwing some money over here, kind of like what Nick was saying. I got a little money in this trade. If it crushes it, great. But I'm not putting all my money in this one trade, or I'm not putting all my money. I'm not going too hard on Vela's exchange, for example. I might throw some money into it, and if it pumps, cool. I'm going to pull it out into Ethereum and let it build for the long term. But I'm not putting all my eggs in low cap coins. I'm looking at a lot of the mid. I had a lot of success last time in the kind of 100 to 200 range on CoinMarketCap and trying to pick things that I thought had good utility and good fundamentals and watching them move up into the top 50. Things like Cosmos, things like Cardano, it was always up there pretty high. I'm trying to think where it was on CoinMarketCap when I got it. Tezos was another one of those. Polkadot, Avalanche, a lot of those were much far outside of the top 40, and then you get them early, and then they've moved up well.
Yeah.
And again, a lot of the especially smart contract platforms. So INJ is another one of those. I think it's in the 200-ish range.
And don't marry them. I mean,
Yes.
Jesus, don't marry them. Like,
Marry humans, not altcoins.
humans. Yeah, and you have to be so spread out to find these different hits that, you know, that's one thing I see on Twitter a lot is like people will post this like insane, you know, 1000x, but they don't tell everyone that it was $5 that they 1000x or whatever. And that's great. That's a great profit, but it's not you can't recreate that across the board on even, you know, 10% of your portfolio. If you have a bunch of different coins, you're very well spread out to end up hitting those. So like, that's why I like to keep my expectations of profits in a reasonable manner so that you know what your goal is. And then you pull the profits away from them, roll them into either Bitcoin or a home or a vehicle, something that you use or that has a better store of value. Then you can reassess the market and re-enter and just keep building upwards from there. Cause I just wanted to say that I see a lot of the 1000x stuff all over the place, and it, you know, it can be dangerous to be FOMOing in on those types of situations without any context of, you know, $1 turning into, you know, $100 or whatever. Like, congratulations, but I mean, you have to be really, really spread out to be able to find those things.
Yeah, and like I said, that is a strategy. A lot of people, you can throw $100 on 20 different coins like that and watch them crush. And then if the $100 you lose, it's like, well, I made it up on two out of the 20 really hit, and I made all my money back 10 times over. You know, those are just made up numbers. Don't do that math. But yeah. So Sigurdur Arneson says, love the show, guys and girls. I will turn 50 this year and work 2 jobs and have done so for many years. I'm ecstatic that I get the chance to change mine and my children's financial future with crypto. Love that.
Yeah.
Great attitude.
There it is. Gary hates that.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly why
They hate that.
the banks and the elite and the traditional system is pushing back so hard on this. They want to keep you working those 2 jobs. They want to keep you down. They don't want you to make that jump from middle class or lower class up into the not having to work and having assets that work for you. And so that's what it's all about. You know, these guys have just given you great advice, getting out of debt, building assets that, you know, produce value, that hold value, that grow, that perform well with inflation. You need to get things that give you a benefit that you know, that inflation becomes your advocate, not your enemy. That's what the elites and a lot of the other people that don't have to work so much have to their benefit. Like, they're not that scared of inflation because all it does is it pumps up the value of all their assets. And it makes you have to work harder. It makes you have to, you know, pay more for your groceries, pay more for your housing, pay more to survive, while they get to thrive on the back of all your labor and all your productivity. If you want to see that written out in a chart, go visit WTF Happened in 1971. You know, chart after chart after chart after chart after chart, you see productivity going through the roof, production going through the roof, you know, all of these everything going through the roof, as well as inflation going through the roof.
And wages flatlining.
Yeah, wages next to nothing. And so, you know, a lot of opportunity here through crypto. There's a reason people call it the biggest wealth transfer ever. And it is, and probably will be, the greatest opportunity of your lifetime to change your financial future and the financial future of everyone in your family tree. So the FOMO is real and understandable because this is your opportunity. You don't want to miss it. And if you're here right now, you are not missing it. So smash the like buttons if you're changing the financial future for your family. So speaking of the elites and the people we hate, we have some interesting advice coming out of the WEF this weekend.
Oh, good.
Yeah. The World Economic Forum, aka
I love this one.
The global elitists that want to move to a one world government, one world environment so they can control more things and more people.
I love when they penetrate my psyche.
Yeah. Well, here they are. And this is an interesting fact about a lot of these types of people. They will tell you exactly what their plan is. And then they feel no remorse
it's not their fault.
For people falling into this trap. So they're telling us what to do here. And let's see. I think that I had. Oh boy, now I lost it.
By the way, a tactic. One of the reasons that they do that is because they own the propaganda class. Because if you read their words and say, look, they say they're going to do this, then you get the propaganda class saying you're blowing that out of proportion. So they know that they're going to pick up the slack and gaslight you into thinking, no, they don't want to take away all your property. You're being ridiculous.
Yeah, of course they wrote a blog that said you will own nothing and be happy, and you know, but that's not really what they meant.
That's not really what they meant. Yeah. Also, here come carbon credits on your MasterCard.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
you love my favorite quote.
What's that?
Those you can. I'm sorry. Those you can convince of absurdities. You can convince to commit atrocities.
Yep.
Mhm.
Ooh.
And masks help a lot with getting people to commit.
Drew,
those
no,
atrocities.
bad Drew.
Psychological.
Bad Drew.
People do much different things when there's a mask on.
Bad
their
Drew.
face.
That is true.
They feel very
That is true.
disconnected, very dehumanized.
It is very dehumanizing.
Like a ball gag.
Ooh.
Oh well, no.
That's the
you
sticker
need
on my
more-
desk.
You need more facial coverage. For
TJ,
that.
help us. Get back to it.
All right, yeah, let me cover what they actually said so the people at home know what I'm talking
Yeah, yeah,
about. The World Economic Forum wants you to learn critical ignoring. I wonder why. Without it, we will be drowned in a sea of information. A sea of information that is at best distracting and at worst misleading and harmful. This is actually pretty true. This is something I've said on this show before. You know, critical thinking is a very valuable skill, but critical, you know, and really critical thinking is separating fact from fiction. It is kind of asking questions, but they're making this term critical ignoring, saying critical thinking is great, but in a world full of information, we need to learn critical ignoring. So what they're trying to teach you to do. Yeah, they're trying to say ignore. When you hear people coming, and you know, ironic that a lot of the people that were covering a lot of this information saying, "Hey, this is false." There's a lot of misleading facts that are getting presented to you when it came to everything that was going on with the pandemic and why and what. And you know, a lot of people in this room were way ahead of that curve because they have very high critical thinking skills.
Or I know how to look up journal articles.
That's what I'm saying. They know how to think for themselves. They know how to read and say, "Wait a minute." This data, these facts don't line up with the common narrative. And that's basically what they're saying here. So my response to that is, okay, got it. So we should critically ignore the misinformation coming out of the WEF. Got it. And that's 100%. Nick was talking about the propaganda machine. We see this over and over and over where they're telling you what to think. Don't think for yourselves. Here's the information. Ignore all these people telling you to think about this other stuff. This is misinformation.
Yep.
We saw it time and time again. What did they do on all social media that didn't line up with their narrative? They labeled it as, you know, misinformation, fake news, all this different stuff.
Yep.
White privilege.
And then it comes out later that, wait a minute, all those people that we were silencing, all those people that we were deleting, all those people that were actually stating facts, like BJ's point, reading medical journals, looking at data from actual...
Clustered randomized trials are bad and naughty.
Right. Yeah, real science that doesn't change all the parameters as they go along to fit their actual... They don't come up with the conclusion at the front end and make the data match it. They just run tests and say, hey, this doesn't look like it's getting to the same conclusion that you're getting to. Right. Can you answer to why? Oh, no. That you need to be able to ignore.
Yeah.
And that's the way they're going to spin it. And it just, I don't know. It just pisses me off when I see stuff like this.
Hell
But ignore the WEF. Ignore a lot of these agendas. That's the way I'm going to read this. Critically ignore misinformation from the globalists.
Chemistry Bro said, my friend literally said to me today he'd rather own nothing and just rent everything he wants. I feel bad for him.
Gee whiz.
They're pushing it hard. It's it's not going to be long before that next generation, the Generation Z and beyond, already has been programmed to feel that, we want, they're pushing that digital nomad life.
Subscriber everything.
Yeah, subscription based everything where you get and that's what basically, if you go watch the video or read the blog, I don't think they did end up taking the blog down or renaming it, but there was a video associated with it. And it was a scary future where we covered it on the BitBoy channel back. If you go search on BitBoy Crypto, you go search, what was that series called? You will own nothing and be happy. You'll probably find it. Or
The Great Reset. The Great Reset. We did 5-part series on it, and it covers literally the stuff that they posted. And it's a very scary future where you don't have any place to live really. Like you're buying your time in all of those places. And yeah, propaganda works, unfortunately, and it's very true. You say it enough and loud enough over and 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 over, louder and louder and louder and louder. You drown everything else out, and eventually people start to believe you. So
it also works the opposite way, where like me, I'm teaching my daughter where her lawn is and how to tell people to get off of her lawn. You know what I mean? And I'm having a lot of kids. So I'm multiplying myself by 4, and all 4 of them are going to know what their lawn
ledger.
is.
Get off our lawn.
Yes, she's learning. Yes, so you can go the opposite direction, and it takes a lot of work, and you have to be very focused to do so.
Yeah, it is.
Mike Vollmer said crypto privilege will be the next narrative. It's kind of a thing, like financial privilege is kind of a thing.
What do they call it?
But
yeah, it's unfortunate. Chemistry Bro says I try to tell him, but he's also a communist. that thinks we should get rid of my private enterprise, so he's kind of a lost cause in that way. Yeah, it's unfortunate, and we're gonna see. I mean, well, that's a whole other thing about what's going on in the east.
Easy.
Yeah, I know. We're about to see an iteration of true communism really getting rolled out on the eastern seafront, probably over the next 10 years or so, because what they've been doing right now isn't 100% full blown. They do control. They do allow at least the facade of some private businesses, even though we know the CCP controls most of those. A lot of the stuff that we saw, I think, was social
conditioning and
a litmus test of like, what can we do? Can we truly lock all this stuff down and take full control of everything?
That's what the last 3 years was.
And the answer, unfortunately, is a scary. They worked pretty dang well.
And they will lock it down, and it'll look great for about 10 years, and then there will be a famine, and then everyone will die, and then there will be a revolution. That's how communism works. It's great for a little bit. It's like going vegan. It's great for like the first little spurt, because what they call the vegan honeymoon, right? You're like, I feel amazing. Well, yeah, it's because you stop eating McDonald's. You're gonna start feeling amazing. But then it's like, oh yeah, I've been not ingesting vitamins. Why did I break my hip and I'm 22 years old? Well, it's because you're a vegan and human beings are omnivores and you're supposed to eat animal protein. So same thing with communism. It's great in the beginning. There's always a cultural revolution. It's great.
Nice idea.
Yeah, it's a nice idea.
In very small, like 100-person communities. If you're isolated,
it's literally the breaking point is 50 people.
Yeah, like
communism works in groups less than 50.
Right.
Yeah.
Like if it's beyond that, it's death sentence.
Doesn't work.
Like,
we need a little the more you know rainbow thing.
Yeah.
We need one of those for like Nick triggers the internet.
Let's do it. Let's go, baby.
I tried to get back on Facebook with a new email, and they just
go. I trigger people on Friday.
Well, that's the terminology or the way of thinking is, I'm a communist with my family, I'm a socialist with my friends, and I'm a capitalist with everyone else.
Here it is. I knew it. No. Don't hate on veganism. I've been a vegan for 8 years and gained over 10 kilograms pure muscle while vegan and toast fat. You can do veganism.
And it might work for you.
That's what I was saying.
Like, everybody's got different genetics, different epigenetic expression. Like, if it
chemistry,
works for
bro.
you, hell yeah.
Yeah, chemistry, bro. You should know this because you are a scientist, and I love you.
He probably does.
I was just making fun of you. But look, as a whole for humanity, veganism does not work. There are specific body types and specific metabolisms that works.
My body loves fat.
Yeah,
and everyone's all worried about.
I will say this: what I've learned from my experience with different diets, because I grew up on a lot of different things. My mom, I was actually straight vegetarian for 2 years, and there's different things that work better for different blood types, different people, different body types. To what BJ was saying, a lot of us are different. There is no one size fits all when it comes to any diet across the board, whether it's carnivore or this or that. Generally speaking, I do think and that's part of the problem of trying to make a one size fits all diet. Any government, you're trying to, anytime you centralize it all into one thing, like this is best. It will be best for the largest amount of people, maybe. But there will always be outliers. There will always be different things that affect different people different ways, whether it's genetics, whether it's blood type, whether it's a lot of different things. So I would say, generally speaking, a mixture of proteins, fats, carbohydrate, things your body needs for energy, things your body needs for strength and fuel varies a this isn't a diet. Go ahead.
I recently learned L-lysine is really bad for me personally. Like I know it's an amino acid that you need, but I need to limit that one for very specific reasons.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so again, we'll get to
you got to move on.
Diet basement another day. Today it's full carb day today or what? I don't know what it is. That was
veganism is the height of white privilege. Moving on.
Okay, real quick, let's get back to crypto.
Chucky,
that is kind of true. But, we got Mr. BJ's superhero, the one in his dreams, Charles Hoskinson. Justin Cardano has just achieved a major milestone with its first wrapped BTC on Cardano network. CBTC is similar to wrapped BTC on Ethereum, but without centralized custodian. Wrapped BTC on Cardano unlocks liquidity from the 432 billion BTC market. Silence the noise. So actually, this is pretty major when it comes to...
I found something relevant?
No, it's extremely relevant. I mean, when it comes to DeFi on Cardano, which I really see starting to hit its stride now as the smart... we knew the smart contracts had to get in place. We saw that roll out. We've seen NFTs, actually starting to build an ecosystem there. We knew we've got DEXs that has launched now. And I think what's the other stable coin? There's a couple of them on Cardano, but you need a solid stable coin within the ecosystem in order for DeFi to really take hold. And then the next step when it comes to that is getting assets, liquidity, volume, market cap from other chains, being able to participate in the DeFi on that ecosystem. So now this doesn't mean necessarily that we're going to see a lot of that rollover, but I think, having it as a possibility is the first right step. And this will be something I want to monitor as time goes on. It's CBTC, Cardano BTC, which is basically, in short, Bitcoin wrapped in a smart contract that allows you to have the liquidity on Cardano to participate in Cardano DeFi. Then you settle it back to CBTC.
Is he trolling CBDCs with this name?
Kind of.
I don't know if it's going to be tricky when we got so used to saying CBDC. Now we're trying to say CBTC.
Yeah.
But it's a pretty big development. Any thoughts, comments from anybody else?
I love it. I love it.
Bullish, yeah.
I mean, I'm long-term bullish on Cardano, and I know he's going to continue to innovate like this, and I fully expect something like this to happen. So it doesn't surprise me. And Cardano, it's not like a huge portion of my portfolio at all, but it's probably about 4%. And I just know that from what I was able to listen to him, he takes his time. He doesn't like to do things incorrectly. And it's not going to be a blow your hair back. You wake up 1 year later and you've made a 10x. Like, it's going to be a long-term play. I'll be selling in 2026. Like, I bought my Cardano a year ago, and I will hold all the way till 2026 and then refresh the bag. So this opening up DeFi liquidity is going to be huge, but I'd expect a lot more to come out of that kind of subcategory that's in the ecosystem of Cardano, but it's going to be mostly information-based type systems. I don't think pictures or videos are going to be a huge squeeze for it. So
I tend to agree with that.
Is that your way of saying you don't like NFTs? That was subtle.
Hey,
it is. Which, hey, it's not everything in crypto is for everyone.
Yep.
Just like we know there's some people out there that like Hex. Nick is not one of them.
Nick is
no. This is
I'm out.
You're gonna like it.
I don't know if you've seen this yet or not. Some people, I saw a comment on YouTube asking for my reasoning why I don't like it, and this is it right here. This is not a joke. This is a real thing. Hex mining is no longer called staking. It's called proof of weight.
Oh, fun.
So this is directly from Richard Hart's mouth. Hex mining is no longer called staking. The focus of the user doing all of their own work and not his mouth, his Twitter account, I guess I should. The focus is the user doing all of their own work and reaping all of their own rewards. There are no middlemen in Hex. That's just you and the code you choose to run. Work is in progress, updating everything. So anything you were waiting on, let's scrap it all. We're starting all over again. There's never going to be any date. Also, next tweet from it. Inflating the Hex supply through minting Hex using proof of weight could be called something other than interest, yield, or reward. So they've literally got something called proof of weight now that's going to be inflating the supply.
Are we waiting on him to sell his watches or something?
Yeah, did he mean to do WEIGHT?
No, he means wait, because you're going to be waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And it might pump into a bull market because they definitely know how to work those pumpamentals. But
so it's POW again.
Yeah.
This is my problem with Hex right here. It's a lot of promises that never end up delivering. I said it on the channel before. Richard Hart's a very smart guy. He knows how to manipulate people and perception and words, and he's good at debating. He does understand blockchain very well. This is a lot, I know, directly as a result of the pressure they're getting from the SEC. He's using very word-specific things to win his argument, which, again, that's what he's an expert at. But that's why this is my problem with Hex. It's a lot of promises, not a lot of actual delivery. So, all of you guys in the chat or in the comments can, bring it on, the Hex Army, telling me how amazing it is, how you all love Richard Hart, how you worship him and all that sort of stuff. But that just doesn't get it done for me. So that is my problem with Hex. I don't know. I think I did tweet this with a little... maybe not. I think I said something like proof of moron or something. But, like if you're waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting.
He's taking advantage of people's vulnerabilities. They're looking for something outside of the Fed and their inflation numbers, and then he literally creates something worse, in my opinion. So,
yeah.
They're like Hexicans are like the XRP army, just with no correlation to reality and what's at least XRP have deluded themselves into thinking XRP is going to moon, but Hex they are literally just clinging onto the words of this one guy.
Yeah, I mean, Crypto Steva says the Ponzi-like coin. A lot of people saying Ponzi, and again, that is the general consensus with the Ponzi is it highly rewards the oldest holders, which that is how this works. People that got in early have made money with it. I'm not just like a lot of people made money with BitConnect. I'm not saying Hex is the same as BitConnect. I'm just saying it has a lot of the same characteristics. And if you guys don't know what happened with BitConnect, go look it up.
BitConnect.
Exactly. That was the big thing that had so many supporters, and really in 2016, I think it blew up in 2018, I believe, when the market crashed. Which again, that's what he knows how to do. He knows how to work the cycles. He knows how to keep people on the line in the bear market. When the bull market comes, I bet the fundamentals will be there.
I'm still waiting for his 3K Bitcoin call. So
right.
Yeah, I'm here for
he knows Bitcoin. He knows the Bitcoin cycles. I'm not trying to say he doesn't know blockchain, and he knows how to debate very well Bitcoin maximalists. He knows he knows a lot of the issues with Ethereum. I just don't really see Hex as a major solve for a lot of those problems. That's my personal opinion. You can do with that as you want. We've got about 400 of you guys watching right now.
Whoa.
We know the goal for likes is 420
Hex
at the end of every stream. If you guys could smash that like button before you go. If you guys are watching on the basement, if you could hop over and hit the like button, we really appreciate it. If we can get to 420 likes every single stream for the next month, we might
Pizza party.
We might get something special. I still owe you guys. We do owe you guys an ice cream party. Remind me. I will get that done this week. But
ice cream party?
Yeah, because we talked about that on a stream. Like if we can get a certain number of likes, ice cream for all of us. So we're gonna sit here and eat our little sundae.
Did we get that number of likes?
We crushed it. Yeah, we blew way past it. So as always, we love all of you guys in the attic and the basement. Toby Chapman, Infrared Survival, Shrimpy Scapegoat, Danny Carney, B Baker, Subfloor Dweller, Mike Volmer, Crypto Stevo, Sack Nasty, Mike Bennett, B Baker, Tommy Gunn, the Biscuit Jesus in the basement. We got Crypto Tony the Zeus, Solar Miner Spain, Crypto Tony, Hellfire Spawn,
Ninja Glock,
Manawalk, Ninja Glock, Crimson Caravan Company, Manly Crypto Dude, What Does Mine Say, Chemistry Bro, 918 Rep, Crypto Totoro, Corey Harden, as always, LJGG. Love all of you guys. If you guys love gaming, if you love fun, if you love big cocks, you got to go check out Hit Network Gaming. We're going right now.
Because he's a big boy.
Yeah, because his last name is Cox, guys. COX. Don't be dirty. All right, we're out of here. Peace.
See you at the top.